Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, and you notice we are straight into Q3 because once again I had more Xbox recording problems, but anyway, yeah, I don't have a proper intro for this, but anyway, we will go straight in and get into qualifying 3 and yeah, see what we can do in this final session. The Red Bull Ring is where we are today, and this is the third round of the season. So this has been a pretty good track for me historically, so hopefully we can continue to find success at this location. But anyway, we'll see what we can do as we are on our qualifying lap now. We should be able to qualify near the front of the grid. We have one of the best cars in the field now, so yeah, we should be right in amongst it at the very front. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, but so far this lap we're being a little bit conservative on this lap. This will be sort of a banker lap, I suppose, and yeah, we'll see what we can do on a faster lap later on. So across the line, and we sit currently down the order in 9th position, only ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who is at the bottom of the timesheets so far. So we'll need to improve a bit if we want to find any amount of decent track position here. I believe that first run was on a scrub set of tyres as well, not green tyres, so that would explain why we are so far down the order at a circuit I can usually go quite well at. So we're on to our second lap in qualifying now, along the back straight heading into turn 4, and we'll see how this second lap goes as we navigate our way probably through the hardest part of the circuit, but we skip straight over that and move on to the last few corners and towards the line, and we'll see where we qualify.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Perez, Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
And there we have it. It is P4 on the grid for us. So that's a really great starting position. Jenson BUTTON, not quite as good down in 7th, but still in amongst it, so we should be able to score some decent points today. So front row lockout for the Red Bull team, with Sergio PEREZ taking yet another pole position this season, so PEREZ is looking very good. Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd, leading the way for McLaren. Carlos Sainz ahead of Charles Leclerc as well, and the Mercedes once again not showing pace in qualifying, down in 9th and 10th position for Hamilton and Mazepin. So it's a very weird qualifying session here, but anyway, let's just get into the race and see what we can do on race day. Hopefully we can find a few more positions and get up onto the podium. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, the scientist, Carlos Sainz and Norris, Button, Leclerc, Hamilton and Nikita Mazepin, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Pierre Gasly and Giovinazzi, Latifi, Matsushita, Lance Stroll and Valtteri Bottas, Mick Schumacher, SATO, ZHOU and Esteban Ocon rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Alrighty then, so here we are on the grid for the Austrian Grand Prix. In terms of strategy, we're going to go with a two-stop. We've got the option of using two sets of softs to mediums, or soft to two sets of mediums. Probably not hugely different overall, but we're going to go with the medium tyres, I think, just because I like them a bit more. But yeah, we'll just get into it and see how it goes as we now go to the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix. Good start versus Daniel Ricciardo. Verstappen with a great start, and he'll take the lead into turn 1. Perez, though, late on the brakes. He carries good speed around the outside. We get around the outside of Verstappen as well. It's a terrible exit for Verstappen, and now we're going to race side by side up the hill. Perez gives Verstappen the slipstream as we go up. We'll go for a dive up the inside of Perez. Verstappen even later on the brakes into the side of his teammate. Max Verstappen making contact there with Sergio Perez. The Red Bulls coming together as we get a lot of wheel spin on the exit. We make a bit of contact with Verstappen ourselves. Giovinazzi is out of the race. Something's happened behind us as well. Giovinazzi's got the front left wheel off the car. It's on a bit of an angle there, you can see. And this is what played out behind. Absolute carnage. A lot of cars are piling into each other, and Antonio Giovinazzi caught out there and is out of the race. So that's unfortunate for him. Here's the onboard with Sergio Perez. He was making his way around the outside, gets a hit in the right hand side pod of the car. But anyway, down the inside goes Verstappen, and yeah, you can see we forced him to the inside, so we pinched him into that line a little bit, but at the end of the day, we were able to slow down the car a lot more than he did, so he had a lot of braking performance left in hand that he didn't use. But anyway, here's the onboard with Daniel Ricciardo, and yeah, you can see just in the last phase of the stop there, you can see we were able to get the car stopped and sort of pull out of that battle, whereas Verstappen decided to go full send, and he made contact with Sergio Perez in doing that. We're on board now with Jenson BUTTON, our teammate, as he got underway, and whoa, Carlos Sainz getting a bit aggressive in the mid-pack there, but looks like they were all able to get away with no damage in that little situation, but that was an aggressive dive there, and Jenson BUTTON actually made a really great start, and now trying to make his way around the outside of Ricciardo, but unfortunately the safety car comes out and is not able to get that move done. He has to slot in behind once again. We go on board with Nobuharu MATSUSHITA, and he was one of the cars involved in the pile-up, so we'll start to get a bit of an understanding of what happened in this incident. He's tucked in behind his teammate at the moment, Pierre Gasly, just in front, so we'll see what happens here as they head up the hill, following to get the slipstream, and then yeah, they all start slowing down, and yeah, I think he maybe made light contact with the back of Gasly, but yeah, definitely got a hit from behind, and I think that may have been Giovinazzi making that contact, and there is the onboard with Giovinazzi into the back of Matsushita, so confirmation there of what happened, and yeah, Nicholas Latifi is able to avoid any collision there, goes off circuit. There's a lot of debris on the road, and that's going to take a little bit of time to clear up. We're on board now with Mick Schumacher, and he's out of the race with terminal damage as well. It's only a very, very slight touch into the back of Latifi, but for some reason that damaged his car. It could have also been for ZHOU Guanyu running into the back of him, but one of those two little knocks took Schumacher out of the race, unbelievably. So that's unfortunate for Mick Schumacher. We're on board now with Bottas, and he was also involved, and bang, straight into the back of the Aston Martin of Antonio Giovinazzi and Marino SATO able to get through. He was smart enough to take the right hand side, and he gained a bunch of spots there, so that's lucky for Marino SATO. And additionally, Lewis Hamilton was given a 5-second time penalty for overtaking under yellow flags, and that is the moment right there. So yeah, just a bit of a strange one, but anyway, the pit crews go to work on all of the damaged cars. Max Verstappen into the pit lane, Charles Leclerc as well. I don't know where Charles Leclerc got damaged from. He was way ahead of all that carnage, but Charles Leclerc was one of the victims of lap 1. Valtteri Bottas, of course, in pit lane as well, getting a new front wing on the car, and ZHOU Guanyu in for Alfa Romeo too. So yeah, a lot of damage on the first lap of this race. That'll catch up again to the back of the train after a couple of laps with the safety car out. They will not lose too much time out of this, but yeah, that has sent all those 4 drivers to the back of the field. We'll have a look on board with Charles Leclerc. He got a really great start, a brilliant start, Charles Leclerc, and just maybe made a bit of contact with the McLaren there, and yeah, that damaged the front wing. So yeah, very strange. That was very light contact, but anyway, we are so close to making contact with Sergio Perez there. We caught up way too quickly to the safety car train, which consisted of 1 car, but we were so close to making contact with Perez there, but thankfully we were able to avoid, and then we had to keep moving across to make sure we didn't hit the safety car as well, but thankfully we come out of that unscathed and we can push on. But that was a bit of a scary moment, as I was following along with Perez and caught off guard when he suddenly slammed on the brakes when he caught up to the safety car. But anyway, we get going for green flag running once again, and now we need to chase down Sergio Perez and trying to take the lead of this race. That is realistically the next target. We do have good pace this weekend, and I do think we can take the fight to Red Bull. So let's see what we can do. Down the inside into turn 4, late on the brakes, up on the inside curb. Perez holding his line around the outside. We're going to be side by side all the way through, but we will get ahead of Sergio Perez and take the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix in the early phases here. But there's still plenty left to play out, and here you can see that is Nikita Mazepin going for the move around the outside of Jenson Button, and Nikita Mazepin is going to get through there. I think they're still running side by side along the back straight, and Jenson Button slots into line and Nikita Mazepin is through. So Jenson Button lacking a little bit of pace at the moment and being overtaken by the Mercedes car there, so that's unfortunate for Jenson. I do wonder if he has some damage from the earlier incidents. Hello?
Got that
Just a strategy, we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so yeah, we are currently just trying to defend more or less from the cars behind. We've got Daniel Ricciardo, who's just moved his way up into 2nd position, with Sergio Perez now down in 3rd. He's on board with Ricciardo, as we've been holding up Sergio Perez a lot in the recent past. Perez tried to go to the outside, didn't find a space there, and Ricciardo used that opportunity to put his car down the inside, went very aggressive there, and yeah, tried to get 2 for the price of 1, and ended up making a little bit of contact there. Now Ricciardo is in the pits for a new front wing, so that's unfortunate for Daniel Ricciardo, and that will now send him back down to the back end of the running order. So unfortunate for Ricciardo, but he will fight his way back through. I'm sure that McLaren is very, very quick. But anyway, we continue on, and it is eventually time for us to make our first pit stop of the race. So we now come into the lane, and we'll put a fresh set of tyres on the car, and we'll see what we can do for the rest of this one. These tyres will not take us to the end, but they will
one stop left in our strategy.
Take us a significant way through this race.
Just ahead,
So
push hard. Okay, gap ahead is 3.6 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 21 laps old. We think they've got 2 stops remaining. The car ahead has damaged the front wing, but it seems fairly minor. The time last lap was a 1 minute 8.0.
okay, well, that Jeff talking done. Confirmation there, Jenson Button does have front wing damage, so that explains his lack of pace at the moment. So hopefully they get that fixed in the pits, and yeah, eventually they will get that done. But again, Ferrari coming into pit lane, and that is Charles Leclerc. So I don't know what happened to Charles Leclerc there, but somehow he ended up with front wing damage again. So that's unfortunate for him. But anyway, we continue to push on, and we catch up to Jenson Button. We make the move around the outside, and we get through on Jenson Button.
No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
We actually did make a little bit of contact there. We have a look at the replay. Button was, yeah, just broke a little bit late on the inside, and made a bit of contact with us, damages his front wing, and he comes in for a new one. Of course, that front wing already had some damage to it, so yeah, that'll be good for him to just get a clean front wing on the car, and he can continue to push on through this race as Lando Norris makes a bit of contact with one of the Alpine cars on his way into pit lane. I think that might have been Alonso, but whoever it was, contact was made, and he went for a half spin, but gets going once again, dropping a spot, but that brings him into the pits a few laps later to get that front wing changed, and yeah, he will also go tumbling down the running order with that front wing change, but yeah, we'll see how that plays out by the end of the race. Meanwhile, we continue to push on through the race, fighting away with Max Verstappen, who's up into second position now. Strategy in this one is a bit confusing, with a few drivers making extra stops. They're running out of sync, but we'll see how that plays out by the end. But at the moment, Verstappen has a very good pace against us, and we're having trouble keeping him at bay at the moment. We've just about done enough, but yeah, I can't imagine we're going to hold him off forever. But meanwhile, as we continue to hold off Verstappen, he is going to start to fight with some of the other cars behind us, Sergio Perez as well, in this one, and he goes very deep there, does Sergio Perez, makes a bit of contact with us, as I think he was more interested in defending from Verstappen, but misjudged that one a bit, and contact was made, so that's unfortunate, and that's more damage for Red Bull on the nose of the Sergio Perez car, and that's going to bring Perez into the lane, unfortunately, I think. But anyway, as we continue on, down the inside goes Perez again. So he wasn't heading for the lane, he was trying to make an overtake there. We gave him the squeeze to the inside, and that surely would have done damage there, because he went for a big dive, contact as he bounced off the curb, and he manages to save it. But yeah, Sergio Perez does make fairly hefty contact. Here's the onboard with Verstappen, and that's not what you want to see. You know, your teammate parked sideways across the road. So yeah, that's unfortunate for Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez as well. But anyway, Esteban Ocon retires from the race with a mechanical failure for Alpine, so that's no good for them. In addition, Marino Sato also retires in more or less the same place a couple of laps later. So yeah, those two are now out of the running in this one, as we continue to push on further and further, and we continue our fight with the Red Bulls. Now Verstappen making the move, and he's through, and now we might have a chance to fight back here down the inside. We'll have a look, but we're not close enough, and Max Verstappen holds on, and he's now taken the lead for the first time in a while. We're going to try and fight back though, as we have the DRS advantage. We'll go around the outside into the very same corner, and this time we'll swing through and retake the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix, and put ourselves back up into first position. So yeah, things are going pretty well for us at the moment. We're in the lead based on our immediate track position, and I think on strategically as well, we are in a very good place. But anyway, as we begin to put a few cars a lap down in this race. That shows, I guess, the pace of the front at the front of this field versus the back. To be putting cars a lap down relatively early, around halfway through the race, really. Yeah, is a little bit crazy, but I guess that's the nature of having a short lap with, I guess, a variety of different corners that really sort of plays to the advantages of having a car that's sort of good in all areas, because despite this being quite a short layout, it does have quite a lot of variety in terms of high speed, mid speed, low speed. And there's been an incident. Safety car is out, and it's for Nicholas Latifi making a bit of contact with Nobuharu MATSUSHITA, and the front wing comes apart from the Williams car there. And here's the onboard with Matsushita just coming into pit lane, and Latifi just misjudging things there, and rips the front wing away from the nose of his car, and he needs to complete a lap driving what is basically a Formula Ford, and those things have no downforce at all. Latifi has the rear wing still, I suppose, but you don't want just that. But anyway, Matsushita himself was already coming into the pit lane when he made that contact for a front wing change, so I'm not sure where he got that damage from, but yeah, he now has potentially some more damage from that to the floor or the sideboard after that contact, so that's unfortunate for him.
Medium tires at the next stop.
But anyway, we are using this opportunity to make our final stop. Our pit window was set to open in a few laps anyway, so we have nothing to lose by pitting now. And yeah, we'll drop a couple of spots on track, but yeah, we will gain them all back in not too long when everyone else makes their final stop. But yeah, here's Latifi in the Formula Ford spec car, and yeah, he is having to navigate an entire lap of the circuit with no front wing, which is, I can tell you, not much fun. But he's doing a good job to keep it on the road and keep things pointing in the right direction. But yeah, that's not a fun experience driving without a front wing. But he's done a good job, and he's now got it back into pit lane, and the team can get that fixed up and send him on his way once again, and he will rejoin the back of the queue. But there you can see the ghost of his former front wing still visible there, and as he comes in to get that change, it phases back into existence. That's brilliant. Anyway, Latifi is all ready to go again, so we can now focus on something more important in this race, rather than the car running in dead last at the moment.
Safety car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there is no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags.
Safety car set to go in now, so let's make sure we are ready to make a good restart. We do have a bit of lap traffic in front of us before we can chase after the race leaders. I think we're about the 5th car in the queue, but thankfully Lance Stroll does not make things too difficult for us, as with George Russell as well. They both get out of the way. Not sure about the cars behind, maybe they will have a few more difficulties, but anyway, we have clear track in front of us now to chase after the leaders. We go on board with Lance Stroll, and you can see yeah, they do a good job of yeah, not getting in the way. Science had a bit of a close moment there, almost into the back of Russell, but yeah, he was able to get away with that. Matsushita just making a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there with Latifi, I think that was. So yeah, the two of them coming to blows once again. So they're just magnets for each other at the moment. Those two, I'm not even sure if they're on the same lap or what the situation is, but anyway, we continue to press on. Max Verstappen makes his final stop. We go down the inside of Sergio Perez to take the lead here in Austria, and that is job done. And now really all we need to do is make it to the end of the race. We should have the pace that they won't be able to catch us. Meanwhile, Latifi's in amongst the action again, along with Valtteri BOTTAS and ZHOU Guanyu, and now they're 3 wide into turn 3, and it looks like Bottas is going to come out on top. Latifi going to slot in behind as Bottas and ZHOU now fight side by side, and Latifi with a good run, he's going to look to the inside, 3 wide again as they head into turn 4. These 3 fighting over dead last, but it's an aggressive scrap, and they're driving well, and Latifi actually comes out on top there, so great double overtake by Nicholas Latifi on Bottas and ZHOU. Yeah, they are fighting hard and enjoying their racing down at the back of the field, and unfortunately though, that has come at the cost of some more damage to the front of the Williams car of Latifi, and he is in the pit lane once again for another new front wing. So yeah, that bit of contact at turn 3 I believe is what caused that, but anyway, let's focus on a battle further up the field. This one is Jenson Button trying to make the move up the inside of Carlos Sainz as they go side by side through turn 1, and Sainz able to hold on as they continue to run wheel to wheel up the hill, and here comes Hamilton down the inside. Lewis Hamilton making the move, and it's going to be 3 wide into turn 3, and once again a bit of contact is made. Hamilton into Button, but it looks like Hamilton not able to get a good exit, and they still run side by side, do Button and Sainz is able to hold on with Button slotting back in behind, and in the end the positions do not change from where they were before. Here's the onboard with Hamilton for that little moment up at turn 3. He goes up the inside, commits to it, but unfortunately just 3 into 1 there doesn't really go, and a bit of contact is sort of inevitably made there, as now Jenson Button gets through around the outside of Carlos Sainz at turn 1, and that's a nice move, and now Sainz comes in to change his front wing, so Sainz with a bit of damage at some point during that, and yeah, he has to make get a new front wing put on his car. We continue on, and we put a lap on the Haas of Valtteri BOTTAS, and yeah, he is now a further lap down the inside now, and an aggressive move and a bit of contact made, but thankfully no damage done there, as we're very desperately trying to get past Nicholas Latifi, and now Jenson Button is continuing to find his way forward through this field. So after he got that damage fixed, he's been very, very quick in trying to make amends for that. Now putting pressure on Lando Norris as they go up the hill, running side by side as they head into the braking zone of turn 3. Button around the outside, Norris on the inside, and Button's going to get the better exit, and he'll get the move done on Lando Norris, and Button moving himself up into 5th position now. So it's a solid race from Jenson, given the circumstances. ZHOU gets out of the way.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
As we are really getting into the closing phases of this race now, just a handful of laps to go, and I think that will be the last of the lap traffic for us to contend with. So we now move on to the final lap of the race, and in the last 20 laps or so, I've really been feeling in a good rhythm around this circuit. No fastest laps, unfortunately, just given our tyre strategy didn't really allow for that, but nonetheless we were able to be very, very consistent, put in a lot of good laps with very few mistakes, and for me that is makes me quite happy.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
That's quite rare. Carlos Sainz sets the fastest lap with his fresh set of tyres after that late pit stop, so Ferrari will be taking home the bonus point for that. But anyway, we now head into the final few corners, and we're going to get the job done here in Austria, and we are going to come around the final corner to win the Austrian Grand Prix.
Superb driving. That's the race win.
Cool. We needed this. For the Constructors' Championship, these points are crucial. We needed a big score.
A fantastic team effort to secure victory here in the Styrian Alps. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
The faces on our top three look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
So we win the Austrian Grand Prix. Second place goes to Max Verstappen with Daniel Ricciardo in third.
Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The owner-driver's team moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Alrighty then. That's the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. What can we say about all that? Race victory for us, P5 for Jenson BUTTON. That is big points for the team, and I'm sure we scored the most of any team this weekend. So that's great for us in terms of the Constructors' Championship, because that actually puts us into the lead of the Constructors' Championship, up into first. So yeah, we're 16 points now ahead of Mercedes. Red Bull sit in third, and they are 18 points adrift. It's all actually very close between the top 5 teams. Ferrari in 4th, McLaren in 5th, and they are just 20 and 23 points adrift respectively. Then it's a bigger gulf to the rest of the teams, in fact the next best team is Williams, and they've scored 4 points, 2 points for AlphaTauri, 2 for Aston Martin, no points yet for Alpine, Alfa Romeo or Haas. Surprised actually there's no points for Alpine, because we've seen Alonso, I think in particular, sort of every now and again sneak into the top 10, but yeah, for some reason or another, they've never managed to finish a race in that position. But sometimes in a Q2 or even a Q3, you'll see someone, one of the Alpines, sneak in unexpectedly. But anyway, as for the Drivers' Championship, then we will move ourselves up into second position there. Lewis Hamilton still leads the way in that one, but we have gained significant ground in this race, and we sit 10 points adrift overall there. Jenson BUTTON 17 points away from Hamilton. He sits in 4th. Daniel Ricciardo is 3rd, 11 points away. So yeah, it's all very, very close, and just a few positions in the next race will change it all around once again. So yeah, we're well and truly in the fight this season. We just need to make sure we absolutely maximize all the upgrades that we can, and put a big focus on developing the car as quickly and hopefully reliably as possible, without too many failures. But anyway, let's get into the interviews.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. It doesn't get much better than a win at this track, does it?
No, it doesn't. I've always loved the Red Bull Ring. It's a very satisfying track to drive, and winning here is just awesome.
Well, looks like your luck has changed. Things went a lot better than last weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, let's not talk about last weekend. Last weekend was disastrous.
There was some contact between you two. What happened out there?
These things happen from time to time. Just a bit of a misjudgment. So yeah.
There was quite a lot of contact today, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was, but sometimes you just get races like that. Everyone goes a little bit silly. It's not always one driver in particular. So yeah, I guess these things just happen every now and again.
Appreciate your time.
Alright, thank you. Alrighty then, so as looking at our rivalry, we continue to score big points. We're a bit behind Sergio Perez after the DNF that we had back in Baku. But yeah, Acclaim is still continuing to increase, but nowhere near enough for our final sponsor slot. Speaking of sponsors, we passed all the objectives, and that is all fine. Back at the HQ, we already have a department event, but before we get into that, we are going to fix this ICE failure analysis durability upgrade. So a company called LM Skill offering a suite of online lecture materials, blah 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 blah, that'll be beneficial for us, so we can accept the offer and get 750 resource points for 50,000. I almost say 50,000k again, 50k, and we are going to do that, of course.
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well. Thanks.
We will renew our sponsorship with ZHOU. So now we continue through the timeline. I actually forgot to show what activities I picked, but you can see them there as we go through. Anyway, as Ollie's trying his best to talk over me, we have another department event. In this one, we have the option to launch a new line of team merchandise. We can launch it with or without Jenson BUTTON, and if we launch it with him, we get more money, but it's a -5 to his pace. If we launch it without him, it's a +5 to his pace, but we don't get as much money. And we're, of course, going to go with the +5 to his pace, because we need BUTTON to be at his absolute best. But other than that then, I don't think there's too much else left to cover, so I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it, and I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on board recently. The channel has grown so much faster in the last couple of months than what it ever has before, and we're knocking on the door of 100 subscribers, so that is absolutely awesome, and yeah, I really appreciate that. So yeah, thank you everyone, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.